Welcome to the 1,000-kilometre review of the Gotway RS high speed, not the torque, the high speed. If you haven't seen the previous videos, then you need to go and check them out because there are, I think, 3 other videos prior to this one. So some of the questions you might have will be answered in those videos, most likely. So go and watch all those. This is just a basic recap because we've basically finished now this 1,000-kilometre ride on this machine. So it's done, dusted. I'll be moving on to the next one. So I'm just going to really finish off with commenting on how it's gone. Now, straight out of the gate, the hollow motor design in these RSs has been mentioned that the bearings go. Now, I've had no issues at all with this. So I can tell you now, through the conditions I've been through muddy conditions, rain, all sorts. It's still going fine, so there's no whirring noises or anything strange like that. It's like it was when it was new, no problem. So, personal experience with this so far is it runs fine. And it has not failed at all, so we've had no issues with it whatsoever, apart from one thing that may have gone wrong, which you might be able to notice. So comment below if you can see it. If you haven't noticed it, light here. On that side, but also on the back. So it's this left-hand side, just these. The front lights all work and everything, fine. That went a bit funny. Only 10 kilometers ago, approximately. So it's worked all that time. And then that light's gone out. So it might just be a connection. We will find out and report back at some point when we have a little look inside, see if a connection's come undone or something else. I don't know. Something's gone wrong there. I've tried changing the light settings and things like that, just some basic stuff through the app to see if it brought it back round, and it didn't. So there must be some hardware failure there, whether it's a cable pinched or unplugged, something like that. But that's the only thing, so it doesn't affect the actual running of the machine, just the lighting makes it look a bit like it's winking. This cover here, underneath it's 2 charge ports and a USB port. Hasn't got water in it when all the time I've been riding, so that's actually been working quite well. There were people concerned that the bathtub shaped thing recessed in would actually catch water, but it hasn't for me. And this closes fine and overlips, yeah, whatever. It's slightly bigger than the bit it's going into. It's like a kid's puzzle. And what I just was trying to show you is the fact that sometimes you can't get it to go in, but it is working every single time. Sometimes I get it in a weird state. No, this works every time. But I get it in a weird state where it won't actually clip in, but that's working spot on. Power button, again, it's in a little tray of its own. Have not had that fill with water and cause any issues. With these push buttons on many different wheels, sometimes if you push them when it's raining, shouldn't be riding this in heavy rain really anyway, like almost every single wheel on the market. If you get a water droplet go in as you push it, it can go underneath the connection and you can't turn it off. And you just have to lean down and blow into it to try and clear that out. But I haven't had that issue there, despite it being in a bath essentially. Because it's in that, when I say it's in a bath, it's not filled with water, it's just in a little tray. But it being recessed in there, you don't get accidental presses of that either. So you have to actually be meaningful and press it. So that works. Holds up really nicely. And I came off it yesterday. I'm finishing off this review ride. And I scraped the back here slightly and up here. Pretty rare for me to fall off. But what I've done is I thought, oh, the tyre feels a bit low, I'll inflate it. So I did, I inflated, I think to 30 psi, something like that, and hit some mud, compacted mud. And of course the whole dynamics of the wheel changed, so I didn't have as much grip. And I was riding along, I was like, whoa, yep, got a bit of a wobble on, and came off. And got a bad back, and landed on, managed to do a forward roll, and then landed flat on the back here.
On top of a Skydio 2 drone, which was in the back.
But it survived, so that's good. And so footplates, nice and big, work well, just like with all the ones with skateboard tape, whatever you want to call it, grip tape on them. If you get real muddy environments, then they get clogged up with mud, but it just dries off and it comes off. But when you're riding, you just need to be careful of that. I didn't have any slippages because I'm just used to riding around like that with mud all over them. The speakers, etc. have worked fine. They're on the outside in an area which you think is the most exposed area you could ever put a set of speakers, where your heel is, and exposed to the outside. Held up fine, hasn't broken. So 1,000 kilometers, you can't really do much more testing in that to try and ascertain how reliable these wheels are. That's why we do 1,000 kilometers really. Mudguard, I've got the MSX mudguard on there because when I got this wheel at the box and was going to ride it, we had no clip-on mudguards, specific, bespoke for the RS. We've now got those in on our website, so you can go and get yours for your RS if you want. We do all sorts of mudguards, so you can go and check them out. It's rubberized, so this one actually has got more dirt on it than you would do normally because the mudguard's slightly smaller, fitting a slightly wider gap. So it's the MSX mudguard on there. But it was better than nothing. I wasn't covered in brown stuff all on my backside because that looks bad. It's not a good look apparently. Everything else has stayed the same, so it's been charging fine. Having the dual charge port if you need to quickly get back out is ideal. So at most what I've been doing with this machine is using a 5 amp Sherman charger and the 3 amp charger that came with it. So that's boosts it up a lot. Gives you sort of 7 amps pumped into it. That charges it quite quickly. Then if I'm charging it over a long period of time when I don't need to go out, I just use a 3 amp charger. So it just keeps the batteries all nice and relaxed, not jumping around like mad. And so that's worked fine. The range has stayed the same as we did the original test. The tyre is held up. I've had no punctures and the treads remain the same, and it works well as a cross tyre, always has done. It's not a new style tyre. They've been around for years, these tyres, and they work well. Nice on the road, nice off-road. They don't shine in any particular area, just good all-rounder, so you don't have to keep swapping out or changing the pressures or anything like that. Trolley handle still works, but I very rarely ever use a trolley handle. As you see in the previous videos, it doesn't sit in here quite flush. Never have done on these. I'm not sure why not. They changed something, but it is slightly more protected as far as I can see with this upper shell, which is when I came off yesterday. It's quite good. It's just scraped the edge of this, protecting this so this didn't break, it wasn't protruded, and it doesn't just fly out. It's quite stiffly in there. But again, I hardly ever use that. Everything's worked fine. It's got a really, really good delivery of power. So it's got a huge amount of torque and a high top end. So I'm interested to see when I do finally get around to reviewing it, the RS torque, what difference there is in that. I can't see much difference, but we'll find out. I can't see why you'd want any more torque than this has got, unless you're doing some super steep climbs. This performs really, really well, and maybe it's overlooked slightly by people because they're saying, well, no, you go for the torque version, that's what you need, the torque. This thing packs a massive punch. Very similar to the Sherman in terms of the way it rides. Obviously the tyre's different, so that takes away from it a little bit, and the Sherman has got 4 big stonking batteries in it, giving you 3,200 watt hours, which also makes it nice and everything's even over that wheel, whereas these usually have a 2-1 configuration with the batteries. It is a really, really good wheel. No issues apart from the light strip. That's it. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Yeah. If you wanted something slightly lighter than the Sherman, that you didn't do that much mileage that the Sherman gives out, and wanted a more rounded wheel for road, etc., so it's nowhere near as noisy on the road, but still delivers a huge amount of power and torque, then this could be the one that you're looking for. You can check it out on speedyfeet.co.uk for sure. If you're still not sure, go and check out the previous reviews to this one. And then we've got loads of reviews on everything else as well. So you might as well go and check it out if you're still researching. If you're looking for a second wheel, then you just need to weigh up what wheel you've got currently against what this offers. Now, if you want to have a look at our channel, we've actually got which wheel is best for me video. It's got quite a few views. Go and check that out, and it runs through everything. If you're considering getting your first wheel or your second one, you can weigh up all the things. There's loads of questions in there you can write down and just answer those, and then build a profile up to which wheel will best suit you, either it's your first or you're buying your secondary wheel or your third or your fourth. Go and check that out. If you've got any questions on this wheel that we haven't covered in those 4 videos, then write them below and I'll try and answer them. This wheel will be going up for sale at some point. We've already got a couple of people who have already put their hand in for it, so it'll be down to those 2, but it will go on the site if either of those 2 don't want it. You'll see a link below in the description. Don't forget to sign up to electricpeople.org and join in the community there. And we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.